Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the BENCH MOB ENT podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. And speaking of Jersey, we have Jersey's own Katie Butler in the building tonight. How are you doing?
So good. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you taking time out your schedule to hop on with us. For those that do not know, she currently plays volleyball at Rhode Island. Yes, we have a volleyball player on the show. Yes, we are that diverse. I love it. I'm glad she decided to say yes. So we appreciate you for that big time.
No problem. I'm so excited. My first podcast. I feel famous.
Hopefully won't be the last. Now, before we get started, y'all know we have some house rules. Hit that subscribe button. Share with your uncle, your cousin, your baby moms. Even if y'all don't talk anymore, share it with her. Make sure that you comment and let it be spread out. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating. Why do we ask that? Because we want to educate the algorithm to let the algorithm know how great this content is. So we need y'all help. Starting off, with you growing up, was volleyball like the only sport that you played growing up?
So I started volleyball when I was a freshman in high school, actually, but I started playing sports when I was in like first grade. So I started playing soccer, and I was like die-hard soccer. Like I was a goalie, and I was like, I'm the greatest, whatever. And I played a little bit of softball. I played basketball for a year. I was terrible at it. But then I thought I was going to play soccer for like my life. And then like a bunch of my friends randomly started playing volleyball, and I was like, oh, I'll just try. And I made varsity as a freshman just because I was tall. I didn't play for a minute, but I made varsity, and it made me think like, oh, maybe I could be competitive. And so a club that my dad was actually friends with, the club directors, one of the club directors' husband, recruited me to go play at their club. So I started playing. They made me a setter, and that's pretty much, I fell in love with it from there.
That's dope. So it was really a situation of your friends joined, and then you hopped on, and you actually being great at it. So shout out to your friends for hopping on the volleyball. Ended up being the sport that you actually are really good at. For you though, once you started with volleyball, like what about the sport did you love that kept you in it? Because I'm sure you could have went back to soccer if you wanted to, but you decided to stay with volleyball.
I think just like, honestly, I was kind of burnt out from soccer, and like playing a new sport. I just like I've always loved sports in general. Like even I love watching basketball, football, whatever, but like finding a new sport that like I was told, like, if you really work hard, you can be good at this. And like, I had all the resources to get recruited from my club coaches. Like one of them especially like really believed in me, and her daughter was actually my setting coach. She currently is the assistant coach at West Point. So she was a big factor, Julia, in like making me a good player. She put in a lot of extra time for me. And I think just like anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge volleyball nerd. Like the second I started playing volleyball, I dove into it. I was that loser kid in high school who just like sat with my laptop watching volleyball at lunch by myself because I was so obsessed. I actually want to be a coach in college when I graduate. So like I literally started volleyball, and my life was inserted in volleyball.
So one, that's dope, because a lot of the greatest athletes in whatever sport, they have that obsession where it's like, I become obsessed over it. I want to learn about it. I want to learn about the greats, and I want to apply it to my game. So I don't think kids in high school are some of the meanest kids in the world. But as us growing up, that wasn't a weirdo kid. You just was focused on your craft, which we know as we get older is actually celebrated. In high school, yeah, there's some really mean, terrible kids, like terrible. So I wouldn't call you a weirdo kid. You mentioned that you're a setter, right? So for those that are watching, that are listening, could you educate us on what the role of a setter is on the volleyball?
So we like to say that the setter is the quarterback. For people who know football, I basically get the ball passed to me, I give it to my hitters, and my goal is to put them in good spots, have single blocks, put them in situations where I know where they can score, give them advice before talk about it after, just basically like be a leader. I think the reason why I'm a good setter is because, first of all, I put a lot of my brain into it. Like, I think the best setters have a good mind. That's like my own thing. Probably because that's me as a player. I'm not very athletic. I don't jump very high, but I'm smart at volleyball. And kind of just being a leader. Like, I'm a very outgoing person, and I love to like make people around me better. And also, I love to learn from other people. So, like, when I spent my freshman year at University of North Texas, and like the amount I learned in a year just being in Texas because it's a big volleyball state. Like, I loved soaking up every minute of what I learned. And yeah, I just love being a leader and like kind of being in control. The setter touches the ball the most out of anybody on the court, and I'm kind of a control freak that way. So I like being in charge of the game.
Shout out to you, because that perfectly translates to the quarterback and the point guard position. You have that responsibility of being setting up your team to succeed, making sure that everybody's in the right position, and you're basically a coach on the court too. Like, the coaches
That's how I see it. So
coaches on the sidelines, you're basically the coach on the court, making sure that everybody is in position to succeed. And you mentioned the control freak aspect, but I think another thing that isn't factored in when you're talking about quarterbacks, point guards, setters, you're talking about people in those positions in sports, that's actually a very unselfish position to be in, because you have to put everybody on the team in the best position to succeed. Like, you got to know everybody's strengths, weaknesses. No, you're not good right here. I can't set you up right here to get a point. You're not going to do it. In your opinion, though, you mentioned, the leadership role that you have. What would you say defines a good leader? Some people are leaders but aren't good leaders.
So like me specifically, like I like to be confident and I know that I'm smart and stuff, but I am my like biggest critic. Like, I basically, like, my motto as a player is setters win and lose matches a lot of the times, like kind of the quarterbacks, point guards, I guess. Like, I believe I'm in control of the game. So if we lose, like, there's a big, like, I'm a big factor in that. And I will cry a lot about if I am not doing my job, basically. So I think just like having accountability and not being afraid to make your teammates better because you know that they want to get better. Like, for me, I'm really big. I'm a captain at URI, and I've learned a lot doing that. But something that I've really had to work on is like putting in that extra effort in all my relationships with my teammates. Like, I've always like had friends on my team, but like putting in that extra effort makes your teammates trust you that much more. And that's like really translates on the court. So that's something that I'm working on. And I think also just admitting you don't know everything. Like, being a leader, you have to still grow and still learn. And I love it. I love being a student of the game.
Shout out to you for the student of the game. And what you said was true, though. It's like, a lot of people don't realize when you're in that leadership role, it is a lot of extra effort that you have to put in with every single person on the team, from the star person to the person at the end that may not get a lot of playing time, but you're going to need them at some point, whether it's to be engaged, whether you might have an injury, and hey, it's time for you to step up. If you ain't have a relationship with that person, it's kind of going to be hard to lead that person. So shout out to you for understanding and realizing that. And it goes to your point, though. The IQ is really up here.
I try.
So you wear number 21. I saw that when you was at Texas. I saw it now at URI. Is there any significance of 21, or is it just I just chose the number?
I actually didn't choose the number, and that's the significance of it. So, I mean, I talk about the club that I played at USANY. Shout out to them. Any young volleyball players, you want to play for them, DM me. But I just, like, I loved my experience there. I would not be in volleyball. I would not have a future. I honestly wouldn't know what I want to do with my life if I didn't have them. And so my club coach, Rob and Maria are the two directors, and Rob gives everybody their number. You don't really get to pick your number. And so he gave me 21, and he was like, we've had a couple successful girls have 21. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. Like, that's cool. And then, as I said, I'm a big nerd. So then when I started like looking at setters that had 21, like an old Penn State setter, Brianna Weiskircher. Oh my God, I think that's her name. It's been a while. It's been a while. She graduated a long time ago. And I was like, okay, like Penn State setters wearing 21. I can wear 21. Like, I want to be like that. So I just, I really hope I said that name right. That'll be embarrassing for me. But yeah, I want to be a great. That was my goal. So I embraced the number even though I didn't pick it.
Shout out to you for embracing that number and embracing the challenge. Like, he basically challenged you, like, hey, some really good people that's wore this number. Here you go. So it's up to you to accept that challenge and be like, all right, I'm going to actually embrace it and continue to be great wearing this number 21. And obviously it worked because now you're at URI still wearing 21. So worked out.
Yeah.
Say that. Shout out to coach. At what point now did you know, like, all right, I'm pretty good at this. I can play at the highest level of volleyball. When did you know? When did that light bulb just click like, oh?
This is going to sound like it makes no sense, but like I didn't really know until I got to college freshman year. And I was like competing with people and I was like, okay, I can do this. Like I committed to UNT going into my junior year. So as soon as June 15 hit my sophomore year, I had 2 visits scheduled at North Texas and Western Carolina. Shout out to Western Carolina. I low-key regret not going there. That's an awesome program. And I picked North Texas. I was committed going into the school year. And I still like just did not feel like I belonged. Like I'd only been playing for like a year and a half. And I was like, I just don't like I was so nervous. And I feel like that's a big like that's a good thing. I feel like if you're a kid in high school, you know, like being nervous, never think it's enough, like never think you're prepared because it's gonna make you more prepared. And so I think when I finally was like starting as a freshman in Conference USA at North Texas, I like finally felt the confidence like, okay, I can hang with these people. Like I can be good with these people. But like you should have saw me 3 months before I reported. I was in shambles, not because I didn't want to go, but because I was just so nervous. Like I was like, I'm not prepared for this. And not because of not training. I put all my, like I said, all my work into volleyball, but just being scared.
Shout out to you for taking a step, though. You had to take the step. There's a lot of people, and I'm sure you've known of these people, or you've read stories, or you've heard stories of they're scared and then they decide not to do it. You continued and you kept through. One of the things that you just mentioned, though, you don't have to go into it if you don't want to. But you mentioned Western Carolina and you kind of regret not going there, how great of a program it was. What made you have a regret towards not choosing them over North Texas?
So, like I said, I want to get into coaching and I coach at a club and I travel at tournaments. I just went to the national championship in Tampa and went to the convention. And like the Western Carolina head coach, Karen Glover, came up to me, gave me a big hug. And like still, every time I see her, she's like, I hope you're doing great, whatever. And the program has just been like so successful since I had been on my visit. And honestly, the reason why I chose UNT over Western Carolina at the time, the big reason was that UNT at the time was better. Like UNT was a top 75 program when I committed, and Western Carolina just has jumped and jumped. And, you know, I didn't have a great experience at UNT. I mean, I don't regret. I guess regret's a bad word because I love my experience at UNT. Like outside, like of learning and everything, I just like wish it had gone less stressful, I guess. But I learned a lot. I met a lot of great people. One of my friends from UNT transferred to URI to play with me, Andrea Owens. So, I mean, I still connect with those people, but I definitely think that if I'd gone to Western Carolina, I would have been there for 4 years, if that makes sense. But like I said, I don't want to take away from my journey. Like I learned a lot from UNT and I love where I'm at now. I love URI. It's a great school. I think it's a great fit for me. But I definitely think if I had gone to Western Carolina, I would have been there for 4 years, I guess.
No, that all makes perfect sense. Thank you for even sharing that with us. And again, like you said, it's a part of the journey, though. It's made you who you are. And to your point, there was some tough situations and circumstances that happened there, but it doesn't take away like all that you've learned. And I'm sure you could say like that's also helped build you as the volleyball player that you are, the leader that you are, and the woman that you are today actually helped from that time. So thank you for sharing that with us because I didn't know that. That wasn't on my research. I had no idea. So thank you for sharing that with us, exclusive on the Bench Mob ENT. For you, right? When you talk about how hard you worked and you studied and you became a student of the game, was your work ethic, was that something that developed over time, or because that you were playing sports since first grade you always had that work ethic there?
Um, I think I've always had a work ethic for like things that I'm passionate about. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those people that like if I'm not very passionate about it, it's hard for me to put a lot into it. But I also think that like my parents, my family are all super competitive and they've put it in me. Like, you want to be successful, you got to put in the work. And just when I fell in love with volleyball, it was like, okay, you have something you love, there's no reason to not put in the work. So that's basically it.
Shout out though for the parents, putting that in you and having that aspect. You mentioned, you said your family's competitive. Do you have family members that already were great in volleyball that helped inspire you to get to where you're at today, or was it other sports that your family members played?
My dad was great at basketball and soccer, which is why when I first quit soccer, I was scared he was going to be like mad. But my dad is so not like that. He was super supportive and just now he like loves volleyball. He's as much of a nerd as me. He dove in just as much as me. But my family's naturally athletic, but nobody really like my cousin played golf at East Stroudsburg. And my other cousin played soccer at Fordham. So I mean I've had athletes in the family, but not everybody played in college. So I like my family's kind of family. Like in the summer, we're cooking and we're throwing a football. But I mean, overall, I just learned a lot from them.
Shout out to the family. Shout out to your dad. That's how it should be. For those
Yeah,
that's watching, as parents, that's how it should be. He dove into her sport and didn't treat her any differently. So shout out to your dad. That's huge. And I won't speak for you. I know for me, I know that's a huge thing having support from your family,
yeah, for sure.
especially being in a situation where he was great at soccer and you weren't doing soccer anymore. It could have went one or two ways. Thankfully, it went the good way that it went. So shout out to your dad. Shout out to
Hmm.
Mr. Butler. We have one more question before we transition into what we call the fourth quarter segment. For those that's watching, you already know what the fourth quarter segment is. That's when we have a little fun, rapid fire questions, get to know them outside of their sport. But the last question I have, though, if you could give one piece of advice, you could give two, three, or four pieces of advice, whatever you feel led to do. Advice to somebody that is aspiring to be in your position playing collegiate volleyball.
I could go on, but I'm going to try to keep it short. Um, I think first of all, the best thing you can do is bet on yourself. I had a couple people that really did believe in me, but a lot of people that didn't. So I think keep those supportive people, but like it's going to be up to you. Like you have to bet on yourself. I think dive into your craft. If it's soccer, if it's basketball, like learn about the people that you want to be like. Like for me, I learned all about the people in college. I'm now that they're starting a new pro league, shout out to that. People go watch that, give it exposure. The Pro Volleyball Federation, but like just dive in, learn people, like watch other people so you can learn from them. And I think just wait your turn, like be patient. I know I got recruited super early, but when I was transferring to Rhode Island, I committed August 2nd and reported August 8th. So, I mean, take your time, wait for that perfect fit, ask a lot of questions on recruiting visits, all that, and just soak up every minute. I'm about to go into my last season next fall, and I cannot believe how fast time flew. Like, oh my God, no grammar right there. But um, yeah, it's gonna be hard, but just enjoy the best parts.
Thank you. We appreciate that. That was a lot of gems right there. For me, right? You mentioned that you want to get into coaching, and I said it was the last question, but you brought this you brought this up in my remembrance because I saw that they have the pro league now, and I've seen some players actually going towards that originally they were just going to either go into coaching or go into their fields of expertise that they study for, that they have a degree in. Do you feel maybe if it was around earlier that you would have considered trying to go that route, or was it always going to be coaching no matter what, if there was a pro league or not?
I think if you asked me 3 years ago, I would have said I would have loved to play pro, even overseas, but I unfortunately, my body is donezo. I don't know if I can make it through pro. I've had 2 knee surgeries, 1 injection in my knee. I just think I am ready to move on after this season. I'm so excited to finish out my career, but I think 4 years is going to be enough, and it's going to be an awesome experience, and I think I'm going to be a better coach than player. So hopefully that's true, and I'm ready to move on with that.
Shout out to you though. A lot of people don't come to that realization and have that honest conversation with themselves, and they're like, no, I go play pro, and they end up with a even worse situation, even worse injury, especially being that you're cognizant, like, yo, I've had 2 knee surgeries, I've gone through it wouldn't be in my best interest. I just wouldn't be me if I wouldn't, ask a rebuttal, a follow up question. You mentioned the surgeries. Well, that's kept you motivated to keep going, to keep playing the sport that you love.
Well, they honestly haven't been like super major surgeries. My first one was in high school. That was a meniscus repair. So it was about 4 months. Then I got another one last fall. I was playing half the season, and then in the middle of the season, I had another tear. So then I just cut that off. So that was like a 2 minute, I mean, not 2 minute, 2 month recovery. And then I just got this shot on Monday, actually, a week ago. And it's going to be like a 4 to 6 week recovery, and it's supposed to help me. It's a PRP shot. It's supposed to help me grow back my meniscus, and it's supposed to be 90% success rate. So just try to keep the positives of it. And I also think a lot of people play. Bless you. I think a lot of people play with pain, and there's people who can't play, and I love it so much that I will play however I can. I'm just grateful to be here.
Shout out to you. Now we transition to the fourth quarter segment, fun segment. We ask every single guest that has been on this show, because even though I am not the hugest person, I really weigh like 400 pounds. That's how much I love food. So I love to ask our guests, what's your favorite thing to eat? What's your go-to meal?
Honestly, like tacos. Love tacos.
Mmm. What kind of tacos?
Oh, honestly, I probably shouldn't even say this. Taco Bell, my mom's tacos, tacos from like there's a restaurant here called Cantina. I get their birria tacos. I just love tacos. Any taco.
Can't knock you on that. Can't knock. Tacos is very rare you could go wrong, and it's so versatile. You can do chicken, shrimp, beef. It's a whole lot of stuff that you could do with tacos. So I like that answer. Me personally, again, I'm a foodie.
Hmm.
I'm not at all. I don't look
I'm
that.
with you. I'm with you.
I eat. I tell people all the time. I eat for 3.
I get it. I get it.
So, being that you grew up in Jersey, like you said, you ended up going to Texas. Now you're at URI. You're back on the East Coast. Jersey beaches or Rhode Island beaches?
So I can't knock Jersey because I'm from Jersey. I think the Jersey Shore experience is elite, but I think Rhode Island beaches are beautiful, and they're a little cleaner and a little less crowded. So, I mean, I'm going to spend my summer in Rhode Island this summer, so maybe I can give you a definitive answer later. So I'm just going to say both.
Shout out to Jersey beaches, but like you said, anybody that's from Jersey understands when you say the experience is a
Hmm.
the beach is another. It's another story.
For
Next,
sure.
we got $10 million once or 100K every year for the rest of your life.
I'm pretty sure you get more money if you do just the straight up 10 mil. So let's just go with that. We'll invest that, buy some property or something. Maybe a beach house in Rhode Island and Jersey.
Smart, yeah, yeah. Get a beach house there, make the money, make the money work for you, grow overnight.
Mhm.
Yeah. That 10 million turns to 20, you flip it, turns to 40. I like what you're thinking right there. Give me the 10 mil and I can make it stretch longer. I like what you're thinking right there. All expense paid vacation. Where are you going? Who are you taking with you?
I would love to tour Europe. I went when I was a sophomore to play volleyball in a tournament in Croatia, and I also got to go to Slovenia and Italy. And I would just love to go to Spain, um, England, Germany, like just all those places would be so awesome. So, I mean, if this trip pays for more than one place, a little Europe tour. And honestly, either my family or some teammates, some friends. But honestly, I make fun with wherever I am at with whoever. So, whoever wants to come, you want to come?
Europe? Yeah, yes.
You're in.
I'm in. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to get a whole, everything set out. Let's do it. If it's food there, I'm good.
Just food.
I'm good. Literally, my mom told me, my pops told me when I was a baby, they took me everywhere. Tone was
Mhm.
good long as you fed him, and that's still the case as an adult. You take me anywhere and you feed me some good food, I'm good.
Period.
I'll, we could stay, we could hang around 2 hours, 3 hours. Food there? It's good food? Okay, I'm
I
coming.
love that.
Last question before we get you out of here. And again, we appreciate you hopping on. 5 people that are alive that you like to have a meal with.
Okay, like I said, volleyball nerd. So probably gonna name some volleyball people. Number one would be Jordan Poulter. She won a gold medal with the Olympic national team for USA. She played at Illinois, and she was like she's my favorite setter. Um, I think I would have to pay also Russ Rose. He's a historical coach, Penn State for 42 years, I think. Um, I think John Cook, who's the coach at Nebraska right now, just because I want to know all the tea that's going on because I'm nosy and he's got a lot going on there. Um, Mary Wise, she's the head coach at Florida, one of the most winningest women coaches in volleyball.
Mm.
And they could also have to pick Kathy George. She used to be the head coach at Michigan State. Sorry if I offended her right there. And now she's coaching the Grand Rapids Rise team for the Pro Volleyball Federation. Honestly, that just like there's probably other ones that are better answers, but that's just who I spit out right there.
No problem. We don't got to find with those answers. Thank you again for hopping on. Make sure those that watch this and listen that you go support Katie in every which way possible. We will put all of her links below in the video on all streaming platforms. Click it below. Go follow her. Support Rhode Island volleyball. If you're in the area, go check out a game. Go check the schedule. Make sure you support. We support women's sports here specifically too. Make
Love
sure
it.
sport because it's growing on all aspects: volleyball, golf, basketball. I've even seen flag football is growing now, softball, on all aspects. So y'all need to hop on board, hop on the train now while there's still seats there. Because at one point the seat's not going to be there. We don't want you to hop on a bandwagon 20 years from now. Hop on now.
Mm-hmm.
Hop on early while it's growing. We'll accept you on. You might have to
Mm-hmm.
pay a little bit of a fee, but we'll accept you on the train. Yeah, I know the vibes though. If you stay ready, you don't gotta get ready. Bench mob, we out. Peace.